I hope you have your coffee ready and maybe whatever tea or a little wine. This is a question that get asked periodically, especially people who are going through um, different phases of their relationship and they're a little older. And the question comes up quite often, do they get better as they age? Such as like, most likely we would feel someone like this, the things that you deal with that we think, you know what, they probably will, people mellow out as they age, or, they get things, they aren't so stressed with their work anymore as they age, especially in retirement. I'm just going to have to go by what I've learned the most, and plus clinical results, okay? Everybody, I'm always going to keep this as a disclosure, everybody is different, and so this is never 100% for everyone, and it depends what level of narc that they are. Basically, what it comes down to is that aging is not easy, even for people who are healthy-minded. It's a difficult process. It's not a process that is meant for sissies, as they put it. We don't accept a lot of times that we've aged and things don't work as well, and we're limited and things like that. But on the flip side, we get that time in our life that our life isn't as hectic, and we have more time for our family, we have more time for our loved ones, we have more time to do things socially. Well, there's the problem. Socially is not a big thing for them, and spending time emotionally is not a really good narc character. So, the bad thing for the narc is that the disorder does not go away, if that is the answer you're looking for. It doesn't just vanish. The only way a narc or a psychopath or a sociopath or anything in those kind of categories, they're personality disorders, not a medical like bipolar that can probably treat with medications. Unless the narc somehow gets treatment, and it's usually pretty extensive, and a lot of times it takes a lot of time, because the narc will always lie in therapy until they can finally hit that breaking point. They spend their whole life wearing a mask and pretending they're somebody, and they don't even know they're this person. They don't know they're perfect, and in all their demands that they're always right or they're perfect, and inside and everything the way they think, and they lack the emotion and empathy. So where do you think that they're going to be really honest with the therapist, and what are the odds you think you're going to even get them into a therapist admitting there's something wrong? It's pretty rare, so I wouldn't count on it. Not saying it's never or could never happen. There are some rare cases, but the odds are pretty low if that's what you're hoping for. So back to, do they get better as they age? Now think about it for a minute. A narc really depends on their esteem, their looks, their wealth, they're able to woo, their ability for all these things. They really depend on those. Even if it's not a narc that's out messing around or having affairs, which is kind of rare, but they still like the flirtation and the attention. When they're younger, you can get that. And, some, ladies do like it once in a while, but not like a narc, Everybody likes a little bit of tension and to be told, they look nice for the day, or something like that. But a narc depends on it. I mean, they totally depend on it. And they use the world and the people as objects to get that, to get that feeding into them. They can't give it back, maybe in words. You always got to remember, when they do have compliments, when they do do the wooing or what. It's for a gain for something. They know that in time they're condition you for something to get out of it. It's not normally like, I want to treat this person right, they deserve it. They don't have that. They have it that they know in time they're going to get something out of you. It's a new supply, kind of thing, get something. So here's the kind of the list that is pretty common as they age. And we're talking even up to, 60s, 70s, 80s, onto that if you plan on spending the rest of your life with them. And I have seen older people in relationships, they just stay with it. They don't want to be alone, and they just learn to deal with the demands. They just learn to cater to them. And we've all seen that a lot in, older people, maybe ethnic cultures, that they just wait on them hand and foot. And they just live with it. They just learn to live with it, and that's going to be their life. So one of the things, and number one, is they gain bitterness. And, it's all because of the denying their age. There's a resentment. It just kind of like we do it too. Okay? Everybody does. Deep inside, whether you admit it or not, you could say I have a perfect life and I'm happy and loving and all that kind of stuff. We still don't always age well. We don't always take it well. So take that and enhance it by 1,000. Okay? Everything's enhanced by 1,000. And they lose their charm, they lose their looks, they lose their wealth. They get worse as far as taking responsibility for their actions. You ever heard of that movie like Grumpy Old Men, kind of thing? That's where you lead it to as far as your thought process and that kind of stuff. They get worse, and blaming people, and disappointments increase. All that increases, okay? So do they get better and mellow out? No. They still have the disorder. Demands are the same. The need is the same. The insecurity is the same. The need for the attention is the same. They need the world to walk because they can't feed it out themselves. But now they don't have all these tools like they did when they were younger to try to create it, to get people to be used as an object, to get the compliments, to get the praise, to get, even it could be wealth, whatever it is. So here now they're retired and they can spend time with their grandkids or their children, or they could travel, or they can just relax. Well, that's not what they need. So they're heading to retirement into a sector that is like a demon to them. That they don't praise those kind of things. Okay, so what is, again, I'm going to repeat, like this is kind of a little bit repeat. They go to extremes. So everything that they had before, everybody's different, whatever needs they were needing, whatever things that they need to make them be complete, they're like vampires, that's a good way of putting it. They have to suck from you because they can't create it themselves. They just can't create it. They don't know how, or it just wasn't there when they're born. We will cover a video on that, which has a little bit about is it medical or is it environmental. That is a toss, and we will always watch for the videos. We got other ones coming. They'll touch bases on that. But everything they had will get worse. And not only that, it's not uncommon as we age, you can get creeps of dementia, and you can still function, and people do, and they still live on their own. I mean, I'm not talking Alzheimer's, I'm talking like dementia will get, it's part of aging. And with that, that increases too. So when that increases, it makes it even worse. I mean, you're getting like a double whammy, on all this. So everything that they had a problem with, whether they'll get more abusive, they'll get more bitter, they'll get more isolated, they'll get more paranoid, all these things will increase. So again, there's your another answer. Does it get better? Per the highest percent, what we have learned, and clinically, no. So if you're bargaining for that, if you're banking on that, I'm going to have to say you may want to find a different route. Okay? Don't depend on mellowing out to age. The other thing is it increases with them is isolation. Why isolation? Well, they lost all these things. Okay? Now they're bitter about all this kind of stuff, and just take the package I just told you about and think about it. And because they have all these things to extreme, well, friends don't want to be around them. They don't want to be around friends. They don't have the social skills. They may, when they were younger, able to act, having the social skills, like, oh, I saw this on TV and this is how you're supposed to act, or, they pick up some social skills, how you're supposed to present yourself. But remember, they're charmers and everything else on the outside world, and when they're around public, so they know how to act it, kind of thing. But as they get older, it's not tolerable anymore. Everything increased so much. They're very bitter people, and they go to extremes of that. So, like, sometimes the grandkids are, like, grandpa's not very nice or grandma's not very nice, and there's not that closeness so much anymore. So they really, really become a lot more isolated. When they age, that's a kind of what they want. And if they have a partner, they're expecting that partner to follow their isolation. Such as, if there's a partner that says, I can't wait to retire, and I can't wait to do all these things, or even if I have to do them in slow motion, I can't wait to do all these things and have time and not be working, or even work part-time, and you may want to explore a little bit, you better plan on exploring by yourself. Because if you don't want to follow their game plan, what they have in mind, what their idea is for for retirement, it's a no-go. It's a no-go. So either if you stay in the relationship, if you somehow want to learn that you can do their thing, they do their thing, they're not going to be happy about it. There's always going to be problems when you return home, because they see it as rejection. They see it as you not following their path, whatever. So it still doesn't always turn out. Even if you go travel and come back in 2 weeks, you may pay for it in whatever silent treatments, grumpiness, not treating you right, mad at you for doing it, silent treatment, more demands, whatever. Just plan on it, whatever their path is, and it's usually isolation, and it's usually more grumpy and more bitterness and everything. You will have to follow it. If that is not your plan for the end of your life years, you're better off moving on. You can't they're not being responsible for their actions. You can't be responsible for their actions either. And it's a very sad or hard situation, I get it. But to them, they like the isolation. So there we go. And the other thing that kind of happens with them too, they say, seems to be, they become very bigotry. But that comes with the bitterness. They hate the world. They hate themselves now. They can't look in them. I mean, looks and appearance a lot of times is really huge for the narc. If they lose their looks, or, they see the aging, it just gets worse and worse. I'm going to say, we don't take it very well. I know, I'd rather, but, we don't. We don't take it that well either. So you imagine a narc and multiplied by 1,000. They get racism, sexism, ageism. They lost their power. And that's all they ever had. So, no. They don't change. They may change tactics. That's just about it. If they gained power and the attention by floating around and having a lot of supply and a lot of different women or men, and, were able to play the game, and, maybe have a keeper over here and a couple over here, and that kind of things, that kept them amused and power and control and attention. But when they lose that, it's really bad for them. That was a huge part of survival for them. And so you can kind of put it in perspective. The theory that we've heard from a few that asked me or the group of, well, do you think they're going to mellow out? I mean, and we kind of see that in people, but it's usually nice people that do that don't carry this. My answer is no, they get worse. So if that helps, put some questions down there. If you have any issues or any even stories, please put them in the comments down there, because we're going to do this as a group, a little bit like a blog at the same time as a video. And hit the subscribe button. That's it. Your videos will come to you. I do know you can't hit subscribe buttons or like buttons unless you log in to YouTube. And that means you have to have an account, and all that means is your email address and a password. And that way, every time you come into YouTube, new videos will let you know if they've came, or if I've made new ones, or even other accounts that you have. All right, and you have a nice evening. Be good to yourself, and we'll have more questions.